Woman who sat in on UN meetings risks everything to alert America of disturbing plot by Matthew DePerry for VeteranAF.com. We are seeing increasing attacks carried out by lone wolf Muslim terrorists in America. One of their sick methods to inflict damage is to use vehicles to plow through crowded areas and kill as many pedestrians as possible. In late October, a Muslim plowed through innocent bicyclists and pedestrians in New York City in an attack he had been planning for weeks. NYPD had confirmed that the suspect had visited the location a number of times before in order to gather more information to carry out his deadly attack. The 29-year-old Uzbekistan native was able to come into the country under Barack Obama using the diversity visa lottery program to get into our country. President Trump has vowed to get rid of the disastrous program in order to preserve or prevent more terrorists from carrying out deadly attacks. An unnamed woman who has sat in on many United Nations meetings regarding refugee resettlement to the United States is risking her life to raise alarm bells to anyone willing to listen. The information she has is about a planned Muslim invasion, and it proves we are being taken over thanks to high-ranking officials in the United States government. According to GOP, The Daily Dose, the woman in the video is not introduced, but that may have been by choice for her own protection, given the nature of the information she exposes regarding terrorist importation into America. She's been sitting in on many of the required meetings held by the UN refugee resettlement invasion industry and is blasting the alarm sirens. This is an invasion that President Trump attempted to protect us from through his executive orders. It's also because it is a blatant violation of our sovereignty in an effort to plant foreign forces within our borders that the enemy forces, those led by Hussein Obama and George Soros, are willing to violate the law through judicial activism in broad daylight. They want their foot soldiers for the jihad in place, and this is how they're doing it. Diseased refugees obtaining Social Security numbers and passports upon arrival. That's interesting. The group holding the meeting she attended was Missouri Social Services, the local face of the globalist UN invasion mechanism, the UN Refugee Resettlement Organization, the Office of Refugee Monitoring, deadly swamp creatures operating outside of Washington, D.C. She notes that in 1980, globalist Trilateral Commission member and anti-American President Jimmy Carter changed the way that we receive refugees, immigrants, and asylees. And they're all categorized differently under the Immigration and Refugee Act. The people being brought in as refugees are not being vetted, despite what the mainstream propagandists tell us, that they are being brought in with absolutely no vetting, no processing period of 12 to 18 months. She learned in her meetings that refugees are terrorists. The invaders were simply given plane tickets and brought to America within 24 hours. She notes that many of them are diseased, bringing with them diseases that we once had eradicated from the United States, including tuberculosis, leprosy, HIV, giardia, smallpox, polio, communicable diseases, apart from giardia, which is a parasite, highly contagious diseases. She also dispels the propaganda that the invaders are primarily women and children, a tactic to pull on the heartstrings of the American people, stating the vast majority of refugees we've received here in Missouri have been males between the ages of 15 and upwards towards 45 years old. Josh Tolley notes the similarity to the situation we see playing out in Europe. She reveals that the invaders are brought in at night, supposedly because the airfare is cheaper, but also there is less public at the airport. In other words, it's easier for them to hide what they are doing to us. It's almost like they're making money running refugees with a comment by the host. The guest says the agencies are responsible for setting the new arrivals up with a place to live, welfare, food, Medicaid, and welfare, and a housing allowance in addition to the cash they receive on arrival. She states that the new invaders don't have any accommodations, that they are, in essence, being given new identities upon arrival, many of them coming in with no more identity than a description as FUNU, full name unknown. They were also pressured into identify the refugees in such a way that they would be qualified for Social Security long-term disability. And the taxpayers are footing this bill, mind you. And the Americans and the vets are in the streets, dying in the streets. Meanwhile, they're being set up. By whom? With the taxpayer money. Also by George Soros. When the refugees are brought into our country, they are given Social Security benefits and given new identities through their passports and Social Security cards. If states refuse to play ball with the federal government on this program, there is a plan to deal with that. The Wilson Fish program gives the federal government legal authority to go in and violate state sovereignty, dropping off these Muslim invaders wherever they damn well choose. Now that these terrorists are given access to our country, they are able to plan their deadly attacks. Obama is directly responsible for creating ISIS and allowing them to grow at such a rapid pace. Trump has done everything in his power to keep these dangerous people out and has been fighting for his travel ban, but that thankfully is now in place. If the media would do their job and report the facts, we might be in better shape, but instead they continue to point fingers at Republicans and Trump. Well, this is a very serious issue, and I hate to, say it, but this has to be taken care of immediately, and this stopped. Can you imagine what was going on under Obama? And God help us, had Hillary won, this would have already taken place already. We wouldn't even know what hit us. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and again, thank you so much for watching.